Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. This video is a quick video for anyone new to YouTube wanting to know the basics. Maybe you're going to your first class or you're just wanting to get into it before you even think about classes. I'm going to be showing you the basic postures and their names just so you can get acquainted with them. Let's start in a seated position, cross-legged, and hands can just come to the knees. Let's straighten the back, lift the head, and let's start to focus on our breath. Taking a lovely deep inhale and exhale, releasing any tension that you're holding in the body, any worries or negative thoughts you're holding on to, just let them go with every exhale. Focus only on what's happening on the mat, right here, right now. Let's take our left hand and bring it to the heart center, and the right hand will sit on the lower belly. Now, the meaning of yoga is to unite. So I see that as bringing harmony to both the mind and the body and connecting them so we can find a sense of calm and peace as we move through our day and focus solely on the present moment. Take a lovely deep inhale and exhale. Now, before we get started, maybe go ahead and set a quick intention for this practice. How do you want to feel? And how do you want to show up as you move through your day? On your next exhale, let's lower the hands. Bring the right hand to the mat by your side, and we're going to stretch the left hand and arm overhead for a lovely side body stretch. Lift the head and breathe through that stretch. Lovely. On your next exhale, let's move back through center, lower the left hand to the mat and reach that right arm overhead. Take a lovely deep inhale and exhale, moving back through center. Give the shoulders a few rolls here, warming up the muscles. And remember, as we move through this practice, take a rest or break wherever you need to. I'm going to go ahead and show you my favorite resting posture. So we're going to come into child's pose. So we're going to come to a kneeling position, sitting on the feet. Stretch the body up tall, stretch through the back, and we're going to lean forward, folding over the legs. And the hands and arms will come along our sides and forehead will come to the mat. Child's pose is a great pose to give the arms a rest when we're moving through different flows. You can use this in any yoga class just to give yourself a little break in between. There are different versions of child's pose. So I'm going to now show you extended child's pose, and that would be bringing the knees as wide as the mat, stretching forward and folding forward, bringing the hands to the top of the mat. Again, the forehead can come to the mat, and just breathe through the stretch. As well as a resting posture, this can be classed as a hip opener, so it should feel really good if you've maybe been running or doing a lot of strength workouts. It's a really good way to relax the body and open up the hips. For a slightly deeper stretch, you might want to come up onto the fingertips and lift the head slightly, which really opens up the shoulders and stretches the neck and upper back. Take a lovely deep inhale and exhale. Let's move through, coming back up to sit on the feet. Take a lovely deep inhale and exhale. Let's move forward into a tabletop position. Hands are directly below the shoulders and knees directly below the hips. We're going to go ahead and tuck the pelvis, straighten the spine, and keep the head slightly lifted. This is tabletop position. And from here, we're going to move through some cat-cows. So for cow position, we're going to, on an inhale, drop the belly, round through the spine, lift the head and open the chest. The belly is curved, reaching towards the mat. On your next exhale, let's round through, arch the spine, tuck the head, spread the shoulders wide. This is cat pose. Let's inhale, lowering the belly, coming back through cow pose, lifting the head, open the chest. Exhale, round through the spine, tuck the head, spread the shoulders. Move through a few of these at your own pace. Feel anything that your body may need. Practicing yoga is about being intuitive and listening to the body. Let's go ahead and take a lovely deep inhale and lift the left hand up towards the ceiling, creating a lovely twist through the back before reaching forward and threading that hand through in between the arm and the right leg. The shoulder will come to the mat as well as the side of the face. And it's your choice here if you want to reach that right arm up towards the top of the mat or just hold it alongside the shoulder. This is called threading the needle, and it's a lovely stretch for the back and the shoulders. On your next exhale, let's come up back through center, through to tabletop, and we'll go for the other side, lifting that right hand up towards the ceiling, and let's thread the needle through and bringing the head to the mat along with the right shoulder. And you can go ahead and take that left hand up towards the top of the mat if that feels comfortable for you. Breathe through the stretch. Inhale and exhale. Let's slowly move back through, come back up through tabletop, and we're going to go ahead and move the hands slightly further towards the top of the mat. Curl the toes under, sit back slightly onto the heels, and we're going to push up in our own way into our first downward dog. Take your time and breathe through it. Spread the fingers wide to give yourself a solid base. Try to keep the back straight, don't collapse through the shoulders. Try to open up the shoulders and keep them strong and steady. Keeping the hips square, and let's push the hips up towards the ceiling. If you can't keep your legs straight here and the heels maybe aren't touching the floor, maybe bring your stance a little bit closer to the arms. Create a micro bend through the knees and the heels can come off the mat. The focus here is simply keeping the hips lifted and the belly folded over, and the head is hanging down slightly in between the arms. Take a lovely deep inhale before dropping down onto the knees again. Give the arms a rest. If you're new to this, it will take a few practices to get that strength building in the arms. Let's come into child's pose and take a moment here. Don't force yourself or rush this process. Strength will come in time. Be patient and trust the process. Lovely, slowly lift back up, and we're going to find our way back to our downward dog. Taking a lovely deep inhale and exhale. And we're going to take a slow and steady walk to the top of the mat, bringing the feet close to the hands. And we're going to find ourselves in a halfway lift. So the idea here is to keep the back straight. The legs can have a micro bend. Keep the head slightly lifted, and the hands can come to the thighs, the shins, or the mat, wherever feels comfortable for you. Think of the body in a figure of 7. Adjust the knees to bring that micro bend if that feels comfortable for you. And let's fold forward into a forward fold now. Take a lovely deep inhale and exhale. The idea here is to fold the top half of the body over the thighs. But if you're not quite there yet, do not worry about it. Just try to lean forward, creating a lovely gentle stretch through the top of the legs. From forward fold, let's slowly roll up through the spine, coming to a standing position. Roll the shoulders when you get to the top. And let's focus on tucking the pelvis, keeping the back straight, lift the head, drop the shoulders, and we'll find ourselves in a mountain pose, standing tall and strong at the top of the mat. Take a lovely deep inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, let's bend the knees slightly before going ahead and lifting the hands up towards the ceiling, straightening the legs again. Palms will come to touch overhead. Exhale. Let's lower the hands, bend the knees, plant the palms by the feet. Come up into our halfway lift. Your version. And forward fold. Step one foot back and the other, and from here we'll either sit in our high plank, or we can go ahead and lower the knees, uncurl the toes, and from here we'll move through it, lowering the tummy, bringing the face towards the mat, and pushing up with our hands into a baby cobra. Lovely. Exhale, lower back down to the mat, curl the toes under, and push up, back onto the knees, or up to high plank if that's comfortable for you. If you're on your knees, let's sit back with the hips over the heels and push up back into our downward facing dog. Take a lovely deep inhale and exhale. Let's take a slow walk to the top of the mat, finding our halfway lift again, straightening the back, lifting the head before folding forward, and go ahead and bend the knees, stretch the arms and hands up overhead, palms come to touch, and release, coming back to our mountain pose. From here, we're going to go ahead and find chair pose. So sitting back, bending the knees, bringing the weight into the heels. We're going to tuck the pelvis and straighten the back and reach the hands slightly overhead towards the front of the mat. And set your gaze through the middle of the hands. Take a lovely deep inhale and we'll hold for 3, 2, 1. Lower the hands, straighten the legs and come back to mountain pose. Take a moment here before moving back into our chair pose. Once we've got the idea of it, the weight comes into the heels and we sit back slightly, lifting the hands overhead and hold for 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Straighten up the legs again, come back to our mountain pose. Roll the shoulders a few times before going ahead and lifting the hands overhead yet again. Palms come to touch and let's move forward into a forward fold. Plant the palms and step one foot back and the other, coming back into our downward facing dog. Lifting the right foot off the ground, let's go ahead and stretch it up towards the ceiling, keeping the hips square. On an inhale, let's move the right foot through, bending the leg and bringing the foot to plant it in between the hands at the top of the mat. We're going to release the left foot, uncurl the toes, bring the knees to the mat and stretch our hands above the head to come into a lovely low lunge. Inhale and exhale, lowering the hands, planting the palms. Let's go ahead and lift the right hand up towards the ceiling, creating a lovely twisting stretch through the body before releasing, planting that palm on the mat and step that right foot back to come into a high plank before pushing up into our downward facing dog. Lovely. Take a breath. And from here, let's go ahead and lift the left leg off the ground, stretching that leg up towards the ceiling in our 3-legged dog before bending the knee and bringing it through to plant the foot in between the hands at the top of the mat. Lower the right knee onto the mat and stretch the hands overhead, coming into a lovely low lunge. Inhale and exhale. Go ahead and plant the palms either side of the foot and stretch that left hand overhead, creating a lovely twist through the body. Inhale and exhale, release. Plant the palm and step that left foot back to meet the right and move back into your downward facing dog. Take a lovely deep breath here. Exhale. And on your next inhale, let's go ahead and lift the right foot towards the ceiling again, coming into our 3-legged dog, before moving that foot to plant it in between the hands at the top of the mat and pivot on the left foot on a 45-degree angle, keeping the front leg bent. We're going to raise the body up, keep the hips square, pointed towards the top of the mat. You can adjust your stance to any way that feels good for you. Keep the hips square and tuck the pelvis, straighten the back, and lift the hands overhead. This is our warrior 1. Take a lovely deep inhale and exhale. From here, we're going to go ahead and pivot on the back foot to bring the edge of the foot in line with the edge of the mat in a straight line. The front leg is still bent. Tuck the pelvis and straighten the spine. Bring the hands to a T position and drop the shoulders. And this is our warrior 2. Look forward and set your gaze over the middle finger of the front hand. On your next inhale, we're going to go ahead and cartwheel the hands forward, planting both hands either side of the foot at the top of the mat. Step the right foot back and come back to our downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale, lower the knees, take a break if you need to. Shake out the hands, just give the arms a rest. And when you feel ready to, let's go ahead and meet back in our downward facing dog. From here, let's lift the left leg up towards the ceiling. Three-legged dog before moving that leg through to plant the foot in between the hands at the top of the mat. The right foot is on a 45-degree angle, and we're going to reach the hands up towards the ceiling, keeping our focus on keeping the hips pointed forward to the top of the mat. The left leg is bent, reach the hands up tall, warrior one. Exhale, pivot on that back foot and keep it in line with the edge of the mat. The front leg is still bent. Spine is straight. Bring the arms to a T position, drop the shoulders, and set your gaze over that middle finger of the front hand. Warrior two. On your next exhale, let's cartwheel the hands down to frame the foot at the front of the mat before stepping that foot back and lowering the knees to the mat and come back to our child's pose. Take a lovely deep inhale and exhale, finding your natural rhythm with your breath again. In your own time, in your own way, let's go ahead and meet in the center of the mat in a cross-legged position, sitting comfortably. Take a lovely, refreshing deep breath. And let's go ahead and lift the hands overhead, bringing the palms together, lowering them down to the third eye, and then to the heart center, bowing the head. Take a moment of gratitude for this practice and your body. And that's our practice done for today. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I thank you so much for joining me on my channel and to do this video with me. It means the world, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!